basically, the concept was don't just build a business, build a brand. Meaning, a lot of people focus on running and gunning with the business, turning a profit, doing different things, but it's more about how you expand and build a brand, and the brand meaning what differentiates you. So I try to take a look at what are some common themes about good brands and how they can differentiate. So to answer your question on how I decided on the Money Motivation brand and the differentiator prior to starting it or as I was starting it, I looked at three things. I said, one, okay, who is this brand for? Meaning, what's the niche market? Secondly, what am I trying to sell? And then third, how do I want to price it? Those are the three pieces of differentiators. So here's how I thought about it. First, it was just a brain dump. All right, who's the brand for? The brand is for the self-made. Self-made meaning people who did not come from money. That's simply what I mean by that. I know people always say, well, nobody's self-made. I don't argue with people like that. That's not what I'm talking about. Of course, everybody gets help. But the point is, if you didn't come from money, then you are a self-made person in terms of achieving a certain financial status that you did not inherit. So I wanted to target those people, the have-nots and those that came for that, because I came from that. Secondly, I wanted to target the entrepreneur, business leader, high achiever type mindset. So those type of people who were entrepreneurially or business related and connected, but in the modern world. So not the typical ivory tower corporate type situation, but more of a modern business leader and entrepreneur because it moves different in today's world. I also wanted it to be and have the concepts of power and freedom embedded in it in terms of people who wanted that in their life and understood the power behind that. And in the Money Motivation actual brand name, I wanted money to be in it specifically because it's provocative, meaning I needed the money component to be there because economics to me is what it's all about. You can't be free without the economic piece. We talked about that in the previous podcast. But it's also provocative in that depending on the person, everybody's got a different lens about what that means. So it creates a provocative piece as a differentiator. So that was first the who. I wanted people who identified with those things. The second was, what am I going to sell them? This originally started, and you might remember this, Montoya, we talked about it. It actually started as a media brand, meaning a publishing business and money content. Mm-hmm. That's actually what I had as a concept initially, but I switched it and landed on it being a streetwear brand as the flagship product. And the reason I did that was a couple of things. One, I saw a gap in streetwear brands that were out there that could tell the story and embody the journey of that self-made entrepreneur, business leader, high achiever, in particular in urban or African-American communities and culture, I'll call it. I just felt like there was a gap there. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing was I felt like leading with fashion because fashion drives culture. And if I could get people bought into the brand and what it stands for and they rocking the gear and they're connected with it and they represent it, once they're in that ecosystem, then I can introduce them to a media platform to educate, but lead with the streetwear portion of it to get them tied in and how that enhances their ability to do those things. So that's how I settled on what to sell. And then the final piece was the pricing, meaning what I was going to charge. And there's three options when you're dealing with this. One is you could be a discount value provider. Second, you could be middle market. Or third, you could be a premium positioning. I decided to be a premium positioning brand in terms of pricing. And the reason I decided that is because, one, reputation is important. People don't remember you. They remember your reputation. And perception drives the day when it comes to that. Secondly, people tie value to pricing. If something is priced more, even if they don't know what it's about, they immediately and psychologically tie more value to something that is more expensive. And then third, pricing is actually a differentiator because it's a status component if you're a premium brand and price it differently because you feel like in some way there's a perception you're a part of something special. So those are all the elements I looked into. So the target became this self-made entrepreneur, business leader, high achiever who connected with that mission of power and freedom and being able to inspire a life of power and freedom by pursuing your purpose, of course. And the brand, I wanted it to embody that way of life and enhance people's ability to live it every day with a premium positioning in terms of pricing to differentiate. That's how I landed on.